With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Welcome to MILF.
I'm Courtney.
And I'm Jennifer.
And we are two moms into literary freedom.
Yeah, this is how I woke up. This is my hair still, like, I went to sleep like this.
You're like one of those people in the movies where they wake up and you're like, that bitch, how does she look so pretty when she wakes up? Yes, girl, look at you. You're like, that's
scary when I wake up.
Makeup. No, you look good.
It was just my makeup didn't, like, I guess I slept like a mummy last night, kind of like this. I didn't move around a lot.
You were so tired.
I woke up with like a whole, boob out. I fell asleep in my dress. I'm tired. It was a long day yesterday.
And you had a long, long day.
Yeah, and I slept for like 12 hours.
Good. Well, I'm still jealous that you can wake up with yesterday's makeup on and look great, because I was like, damn it, Jen put makeup on and I didn't.
No, this was yesterday's. But you always look good without makeup. You don't need it. I do.
Well, I think we're both beautiful. And if you're listening then you can, and not watching, you can catch us on YouTube to see what we're talking about. Which we have over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube now.
Stop it.
So we're going to have to start putting out more content.
We're going to have to start putting makeup on.
I guess.
For our videos. Shit.
This is going up on YouTube, so it's fine.
That's my message in the back.
I gotta say, though, I feel like it's changed a lot since, because the internet's relatively new and YouTube, whatever. Like when I was younger, I remember, there was like this huge like taboo about like going on camera, and now it's like I feel like people like have accepted people for who they are. It's like you don't have to like put on a disguise every time. It's like this is we just show up how we are, and I think people really kind of like respect that authenticity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm telling myself anyway.
I think there is definitely more of a, people are more accepting of yourself, I feel. And I feel once you accept who you are, that also radiates.
Yeah, for sure. Your confidence.
Yeah.
And people see it as like, wow, she's got confidence, like increases your, I don't know, your physical appearance somehow.
Yeah. I feel like in the last year, I've also started to feel more confident. Obviously, I'm heavier than I've ever been, although I have lost weight.
You look great.
In the past and stuff. So, but I've been super skinny. I've been heavy. And, you always have issues with what you look like, no matter what stage you're in.
Yep.
But I was telling my kids always, like, you have to love yourself. There's more to you than your physical attributes.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. Why don't I?
You gotta practice what you preach.
Right. So I think I've been doing that lately, and I feel better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I project that more. So
yeah, you totally do.
Thank you.
That's why I'm so lucky to have you as a co-host on this podcast that is somehow still surviving.
We're still here.
Still here, not going anywhere. So that being said, please take a minute to like and subscribe on whatever platform and leave us a review, because that'll really help us. So that we can make this more of a full-time thing instead of a whenever we have time and in between jobs and child rearing.
Our text messages recently have literally been, do you have time right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you awake yet?
Yeah, I was like, are you up yet? Because I have time. The stars have aligned so that we can both talk. And today we're talking about the Hunger Games, which I'm excited about. Have you read it?
Okay, I have the books.
Uh-huh.
And I think I did,
Hmm.
but it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But now I'm also, because my brain is not there, I'm like, did I read them or did I watch the movies? I definitely have watched the movies several times. So I just can't recall if I actually read the books, but I own them. So I'm like, if I own them, I must have read them.
Well, I just
There.
watched the movie and it's very similar to the book.
Yeah.
I think so. I watched it with my daughter and she was like, "Oh no, the book was way better," which I agree. The book was better because the book, the author Suzanne Collins is really good at capturing like the emotion of the characters, which is kind of hard to do in a movie,
Mhm.
especially when like most of the book takes place in her head. Like they're the thoughts that she's having in her head.
Right.
But I think the movie did overall a pretty good job. But yeah, I'm gonna try and because I've been thinking a lot about like why it's been banned and like how it relates to today's America. It's more closely related to like countries around the world, like North Korea. It's like, oh yeah, like totally can see the parallels between, that. But yeah, that's just what we're gonna talk about.
We're not that far off from North Korea
I
now.
know. Yeah. And I was
So,
like, Jennifer will help fill in the gaps. 'Cause there's so much going on, obviously, guys. It's so hard to keep up, but we're
and
I
if you see us laughing and smiling about it, that's just how we deal with this shit, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh man, I think I left my phone downstairs. I'm gonna see if I can have Blake bring it up to me.
If you want to go grab it, I'm gonna go make my coffee
Okay,
real
I'll
quick.
pause.
Isn't
Ooh, I love that mug.
it cute?
It's like Halloween and Valentine's Day. Which one?
Yeah.
Halloween?
I think I got it during Valentine's Day, but I love like ghosts and spooky shit,
Yeah.
so
Ooh, I want to make you one. I'm gonna make you a special one because I've been really getting into my pottery. I'm really excited about it. Spending all of my
hey.
money on it because it is quite expensive. Here's one. I didn't make this one, but
I was gonna say, damn, girl.
no, I know. I'm not there yet.
You're getting there though.
Yeah. I was really good at it. And then I had my third child, which speak of the devil. Thank you.
Did
She's
you still
bringing,
leave your phone?
oh, dang. Did I? No, I got it. I got it. Like, seriously, where's my mind? No, she brought me the book.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah. Library book.
Oh, reminder to
Yeah.
visit your library.
Uh-huh.
Very important right now.
Why? Is there something? I don't know. I can't keep up. Do you know something that?
No, the same stuff that's going on, like funding to the libraries is being cut. So
Hmm.
the more people show up, the
Yeah,
harder it is to deny the need for it.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I saw something actually in our local Facebook page that and I can't go because I'm out of town. Um, but it was like go to the board meeting, the Board of County Commissioners, because something about our Flagler library budget was on there. So
Did it happen already?
no, it's on Facebook. I think Meryl Shapiro maybe said something. You can look it
All
up.
right.
I should have sent it
I
to you.
show up for those.
Yeah, just I guess you can just go Google Flagler Board of County Commissioner meeting and see which one.
All
Because
right.
yeah, you're gonna have to show up for that one.
Hopefully it's not today because then I'm screwed.
Yeah, it's so hard. But anyway, did you see? I think we talked about this, but you know how first of all, Moms for Liberty, that's a whole topic right there. Um, did they had booklooks.info and
Yeah.
booklook.org? Did you know that the booklook.org one is gone? It's like doesn't work anymore
Really?
as of March 2025 this year. It's just gone. Yeah.
Huh.
And I think it's because they're in some sort of lawsuit. Um, I forgot what it was called. It was called an amicus brief. Do you know what an amicus brief is?
No. That doesn't ring a bell
Your legal experience?
Yeah.
I just Googled it. It's a document submitted to a court by someone who is not a party to the case, providing information. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's like a professional opinion, I guess, about a case. But anyway, long story short, Moms for Liberty, unsurprisingly, is being sued by someone. I don't know. And I think their legal counsel said to take down their book report website. But There's another one called booklooks.info that's still active, but because it's not directly tied to Moms for Liberty, probably.
They can keep that one up.
Yeah, but I
Mm.
I've used these before, but it's significantly shorter list. There's only like like 100 books on there as opposed to like thousands, like hundreds or
Yeah.
but I
So
don't know.
that's great. I've honestly not paid Moms for Liberty much mind recently, like in the past couple of months. More so because I feel like they've already, like at least here in Florida, they they're already members of like our government
Yeah.
and they're
It's
getting what they want.
yeah, because Florida has definitely been the canary in the coal mine. Like
Yeah.
the rest of the country is like, what's happening? And we're like, yeah,
Yeah.
welcome
So
to
I mean, like
Florida.
I know they're doing shit, but
Yeah.
it's shit that right now, until we vote them out, we can't do much about.
Exactly. Right, right. But did you see that what was the thing with like the Moms for Liberty, someone or other and the disturbing case of like child pornography? Did you not hear
I
about
know that there was just someone who was arrested, who was a member of Congress, I think, some sort of Republican, and he had a bunch of like child pornography that he was sending.
I think he had something to do with Moms for Liberty.
Really? I
Oh,
mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
yeah. So it's you know, not I feel like we shouldn't have to say this, but obviously like Moms for Liberty has been pushing for the removal of quote pornographic books, which I say quote, you know, um I don't know, to make a point there because they're not actually pornographic books because pornography is designed to like elicit arousal, right?
Right.
And the books we're talking about, like we're not totally clumping A Court of Thorn and Roses into that category. That's kind of a different argument. But like I'm talking about books like I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. That's SA. That's not.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Right.
Pornography, right? But I still don't
And
think
also
any book should be
pornography,
banned.
like books that have no literary value other than to arouse.
Mm.
That's pornography. So
Mhm.
even A Court of Thorns and Roses,
It's a literary book.
I've read that book. It's like what, 500 pages almost.
Yeah.
You don't get to a sex scene till I think
Mhm.
about page 300.
Right. That's true.
Porn doesn't work that way.
And then in the second book, this is turning out to be an episode about A Court of Thorn and Roses, but the second book, there's a lot more, but it's like, oh, then I touched his bat wing and a tremble went down his spine. And it's like, okay, this is bat wing arousal, but it's like, it's a bat wing, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, I mean, it's more sensual than it is
Yeah.
sexual. I mean, obviously they go hand in hand, but it's not like I can't, it's not porn.
Right. I agree.
I read smutty books. I love me smutty books. I do
Smutty's
not consider
different.
those
Yeah.
smutty books.
And we said, not to, I don't know, get back onto this conversation, but like anything that can encourage we're talking about teenagers here, right? To read is successful, and the more they read, the more they're the more perspective they'll have. So
Yep.
okay, so we were talking about how Moms for Liberty was connected to this Republican guy. But then I clicked on the first article and it told me to enable my ad blocker, and I don't know how to do that right now. Does that happen for you more and more when you click on a website?
Yeah, it's like a little thing on the top, right? That
Hmm.
in the browser
Okay.
that doesn't let you. So I think if you like tap on it, it'll go down
Oh,
and you say like allow.
got it. Yeah. I'm like, sure, I don't care if there's ads, but this is like too many steps already.
Right.
Okay, so here it is. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. South Carolina State Representative RJ May was Moms for Liberty's 2023 Legislator of the Year, spoke at a 2022 event on reclaiming education in America. He was just arrested. What's the date of this article? June 12th, 2025. So about a week ago. He was just arrested for nearly a dozen federal charges for distributing child sex abuse material. And he has a wife and child. And yeah. So not only was he like, associated with Moms for Liberty, they like put him on a pedestal.
Yeah. And listen, we've said this numerous times on this podcast. This is what they do. They are going to fight to keep books that speak about sexual violence against women off the shelves
Mm-hmm.
because they want us not to recognize it when it's happening.
Yes. Yes.
Same thing for the children's books that talk about, proper names for your anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that just speak on anything in general that that will help kids identify a predator.
Exactly.
So when they are screaming, "Oh, this is pornography," no, this is teaching children
It's the
what to
opposite.
look for.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And Nowhere Girls is a great example of that, as I think any, high schooler should read, because it gives them validation. They're, not only, they're either mirrors or they're windows that allow students to really, see those different perspectives and apply them to situations that they have been in or could be in the future. So very, very important. And Hunger Games too.
Mhm.
Not, it might not seem as obvious because it's a dystopian it's a science fiction, borderline science fiction, I would say.
Right.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, like we said at the top of this episode, it's very similar, to like North Korea, where because I guess let me give those who are not familiar with it a little background. It takes place, I think, in North America, right? And there's the capital, which is, from my opinion of reading it, I think it's in like Colorado, like Denver. I'm imagining like it's in the middle of I guess what are those mountains?
Don't ask me about geography.
I wanted to say Smoky Mountains,
Don't
but
ask-
that's not right.
Appalachian Mountain?
No, maybe
No.
it's Smoky. Appalachia is District 11, where the main character, Katniss Everdeen, hails from. So District 11 takes place kind of like on the outskirts of this, sort of like in the Appalachian Mountains, where like
Okay.
coal is mined, right? So she's District 11. She's like the poorest district, where they're just forced to mine for coal. And then all the coal goes to the capital, which is in Colorado, Rocky Mountains.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I say Rocky?
You
I
might
said
have. I have no
Smoky.
idea.
No, I was saying
Oh,
Smoky.
you said Smoky.
Yeah,
True.
yes. I think Smoky is Appalachian. Okay, we're gonna stop talking about our lack of geography at this point. Um, so there's 12, or there used to be 12 districts. I don't know if you remember that from the book as sort of a minor
I
detail.
was thinking 9
There are
districts.
11,
Okay.
and Katniss is in number 11. 12 was destroyed by the Capitol as like a way to say, hey, this is what happens when you rebel, right? Because there was like this uprising, and like all 12 districts tried to rebel against the Capitol, and they lost. And as a result, District 12 was destroyed. And then the Hunger Games were created as a reminder. So, like, if you guys rebel, you'll be destroyed again. And just so you don't forget that, every year, each district has to send a boy and a girl between the ages of 12 and 18 to the capital for something called the Hunger Games. And it's basically a fight to the death. So there's 24, they call them tributes, that go every year. And the first chapter of the book is Katniss's little sister Primrose gets called, and she's 12 years old. And then Katniss freaks out and volunteers as tribute.
Right.
So you may have heard, like, I volunteer as tribute as like a popular phrase coined by the book. So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that there was that one, that gets booted out and like destroyed in. I do remember. I just thought for some reason the number 9.
No,
right.
9 is like, or there's like a movie I think called District 9, maybe. I don't know.
I might be confusing it also with in Divergent. Have you watched that one? That's a good one too.
Okay. But yeah, it's one of 3 books, and it's recently regained some popularity because the prequel came out in March. A ballad of something and something. I'm not sure. It's funny, people listening to this are going to be like, what are you talking about? That's not what it is. I'm a Hunger Games fan. You don't know what you're talking about. And listen, you're talking to a Harry Potter girl, okay? First of all, Hunger Games were like a little too young for me when they came out, like Harry Potter came out, way before. So I was like, a Harry Potter. And then by then I was Twilight. I went from Harry Potter to Twilight.
So the other book is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Thank you.
And I think that's what the movie was on, which is President Snow's storyline.
Yeah.
So it's like a prequel.
A prequel. Yep.
I haven't read that one and I haven't seen that one, but I did buy Sunrise on the Reaping, which is the latest release that came out a couple of months ago or weeks ago.
What's the difference?
That one is Haymitch. Haymitch.
Oh, I love Haymitch.
I love Haymitch.
He's played by
Woody Harrelson.
I started watching. I was like, "Is that Woody Harrelson?" I had no idea. He was pretty good though. They make him really likable.
Yeah, I do like that, and I can't wait. I bought the book, so I know I said that I own Hunger Games, and I'm pretty sure I read it, but I'm not 100% sure. 10 years ago, if I bought a book, I read a book. Nowadays, if I own a book, it's questionable if I've read it because I buy like 3 books a week, maybe. I'm out of control. And, I can only read like maybe a book or 2 a week.
Right. Well,
and so I'm buying more than I can read. So,
yeah.
Yes, Sunrise
on the Reaping.
On the Reaping. I have it. Haven't read it yet. I'm hoping to read it this month though.
Okay.
It's like
well, my friend Camille, who I've quoted on this podcast before, she's super nice, super knowledgeable. She's a huge Hunger Games fan, and she was like, this is the order that you should read them: 1, 2, 3, then the prequel. But I don't know where Sunrise on the Reaping falls into that order, so I'll have to ask her.
Yeah, well, I think that's his Hunger Games story,
so it doesn't matter. Maybe
I don't think it matters. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm always like, it's hard for me I want to read it in the order it came out because that's the order the author put it out in.
Yeah.
But I know that some people are like, well, you can read this one first because it's what happened before.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, but I feel like I need to read it in the order she put it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
But everyone does everything, differently, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I've done a tandem reading.
As long as you're reading, we don't care how you do it. If you want to read all the Harry Potter books backwards, which my son does, like he read the 4th one.
Really?
Didn't read the first 3. I'm like, okay, whatever, as long as you're reading. But speaking of Twilight, did you know that the romance between Peeta and Katniss beat the romance between Edward and Bella?
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Beat it. How? What do you mean?
Like it was more popular.
Really?
Yeah, when I was looking for all the websites about where it was banned and stuff, I came across this article about how PETA and Katniss's romance was like better than Edward and Bella's.
All right. So on kind of this topic, and it's a little
Uh-huh.
off topic from what our usual talks are about.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time on TikTok,
Yeah.
in particular book talk. And
Hmm.
right now there's a lot of drama because another author that I really love, Allie Hazelwood,
Hmm.
um, she on a panel of, like at a book convention or something, it was like a funny chat that she was having with other authors, and she said she was Team Gale.
Oh.
And he's from Hunger Games, right? So this happened. We were already planning to cover this book.
Mhm.
Um, but they're like they literally bullied her off of Instagram and social media, which makes no sense to me because I'm like,
That's not what book people do.
right. And not that it's not even that serious. Like I'm all for let's get people who have homophobic ideas, like
Mhm.
unfortunately
Sure.
the bitch from Harry Potter,
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
she's a piece of shit.
Right.
So yeah, let's cancel her. Let's cancel someone who has racist views.
Hmm.
All of that. I'm cool with canceling. I have no
Yeah.
problem with cancel culture.
Same.
But when it goes too far, like she has an
Yeah.
opinion
Hmm.
on a character
Yeah. Which
who
he's
liked more.
and he's in my opinion, he's much more attractive in the movie than PETA is. So
Right.
I don't know who I am because I'm only on I just finished book one, so I could be Team Gale as well. I don't know.
I think PETA all the way.
No spoilers. We're not
No,
talking about it
no
anymore.
spoilers. But they both have good qualities. They both have, qualities that aren't great. I
Hmm.
think in the sense that if you're thinking of like macho man,
Hmm.
Gale is more, tough,
Yeah.
masculine.
But PETA has always been very upfront about his emotions.
Right. And he also is kind of a badass because he did a lot of things to help her in the
Yeah.
first book.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. But it's an opinion, like how are
Hmm.
we gonna cancel her over that? It
That's
makes no
dumb.
sense.
Yeah.
Like so dumb.
Let's just hope that that was an isolated incident because book talk people aren't usually that close-minded. So, but
Eh,
anyway, it is banned in other. Jennifer's like, wait, Jennifer's gonna stay there and do the good work, and
right.
because yeah, I like to think that people who are like really into books like have the perspectives from reading all the different books and can not be an asshole, you know?
Yeah. But like you were saying in Twilight, right? There's the Team Jacob, Team Edward.
Mhm.
There's that
Yeah,
that trio. In
yeah.
this book, we have PETA, we have Gale, and we
Mm,
have Katniss.
mhm.
And she's choosing basically between these two guys.
But it's not, well, so book one is
It's
from
not
what
a
I
romance.
read. What?
And this book isn't really a romance. There's just like a romantic element to it, but it's not a
Mhm.
romance.
I thought maybe there, the parents would be banning or challenging this book because of the romance, but like from what I read, it's been banned because of things like violence, which makes sense because there is a lot of violence, but anti-family, which I didn't get, insensitivity, the satanic occults, offensive language, which I didn't get much offensive language. And then this one I don't understand at all. Anti-ethnic. So overall, like, because this book came out a long time ago, right? So
Right.
since 2009, I don't know when it came out, 2008 or 2009, it's been banned a lot. So it was banned a lot in 2013. I have a list of it
That
somewhere.
when the movie came out?
Maybe. Oh yeah, so it's number 3 on the ALA's most challenged list for 2013, and I think 2011 as well. And it's right now between 2010 and 2019, the past decade, right? Is number 12 on the top 100. So it's been banned a lot. And so the way they
Right.
compile that list is like they count how many times it was not just banned, but challenged, right, or complained about, because we use the
Right.
word banned very loosely on this
Right.
podcast. Because it really hasn't been banned, but it has been challenged a lot.
Yeah.
And it's the number 3 most complained about book in 2013. So a lot of parents complained about it, and ultimately the majority of school districts kept it. So it hasn't really been outright banned. Um, but
But the efforts are there, and that's the issue.
and that's what I was just about to say. So here's where it gets important. Um, in Michigan, which is actually where I am right now, in this is weird because it's in Grand Rapids, which is where I am. Well, I'm like near Grand Rapids. So in Michigan, students at Goebbels Middle School wrote letters to the editor of the Grand Rapids Press to counter comments by a parent who said the books were too violent for young readers. Arguing that video games contain much more violence, students claimed that the trilogy's underlying messages were more valuable. So, and according to one student named Brooke Hurley, the Hunger Games to me is teaching us a lesson, and that lesson is to be active learners about politics because we will be voting in the next 4 years, and we would not want a government that becomes too powerful. Like,
I think that's the main issue. That's what they don't
yes,
want you to
yes.
learn.
And that student is just wise beyond her years. And so they're going to say, oh, it's too violent, we need to ban it for that. But that's not why. It's because of what Brooke Hurley just said. And the danger is that teachers are now going to be afraid to make it required reading and have these discussions about parallels between the President Snow and the current administration,
Right.
because they would get fired.
Yeah.
Or
Also, can we point out how the people who consider these books dangerous would lose their shit if we try to ban their guns?
yeah,
And we're not trying to ban their guns. We're just trying to make it safer for people to own them,
Mhm.
and make sure that you are of sound mind before you
Mhm.
own a fucking gun.
Yeah. Or
And not
yeah,
just a gun, a
you're not a
huge
child.
machine
Yeah.
that can kill several people in a minute.
Right. And which reminds me of the horrible news in Damascus of the shooting at the church where I think like 22 people were murdered by someone with mental health issues. But I mean, that was in Damascus, but still, like, shootings are not, rare.
Right,
But the gun control is.
right.
Book bans are not rare, you know,
And they
and
should be
books don't
because
kill you, you
no.
know. Anyway, so those are the bands. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, and then it was South Carolina, Texas, Missouri, New Hampshire. I couldn't really find specific examples because it was just like more just complained about throughout the whole country. And because it was turned into a movie, it was super popular. But I read a few places that the author Suzanne Collins, she made a couple of comments about like it's really ironic for it to be banned because like the whole point of it is to be aware and to prevent things like this from happening. It's sort of like a cautionary tale, I guess.
Right.
So kind of ironic, but you could say that about a lot of the books we talk about.
Yeah, pretty much. And
So
again, this is why they want them banned. Like, it's not about the violence.
mhm,
We already know that these people have no issue with violence.
mhm,
It's about the messaging
mhm,
and what it's going to make kids think.
mhm.
And we don't want free thinkers.
Right. And here's how it could tie directly into history, because when I was a teacher, I was big on cross curricular concepts, which would be like, you take literature and you tie it with history. It's really easy to do. Or you take science and you tie it with art. And so what happens is you're using more of the brain power that you have, and you're making stronger neural connections. And there's lots of research out there that shows that it's a really effective way of teaching and learning, right? Of course, we don't see it that often because it's too much critical thinking, and we don't want that, apparently. I mean, I want that. I want that. Other people don't. But anyway, so right off the bat, Soviet Union, okay? In the Hunger Games, the capital enjoys extreme luxury, while the districts, like we talked about, live in extreme poverty. This mirrors real-world inequalities, such as in the Soviet Union, where capital cities like Moscow had the best goods and the rural areas were neglected. The same could be said about North versus South Korea. If you look at a map, you can see the capital of North Korea is the only thing that is lit up with electricity at night, because there's only electricity in the capital of North Korea. And that is like exactly like the Hunger Games, because she talks about how they only have electricity in District 11 when the Hunger Games are being aired so they can watch it on TV.
Right.
And so other times they're actually the ones that are mining the coal, which
Right.
powers the electricity, but they don't get any electricity unless the capital wants them to see what's on TV.
Which is serves as propaganda.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
there, and of course, once the show's on TV, everyone's there to see it because everyone wants to watch TV.
Exactly. Yeah. And so everyone does watch it, right? And there, just going back to why this would be a great teaching tool is you could connect it to so many different historical events, but also current government, such as Venezuela, which I was gonna maybe have you expand on, but in my brief research, an example that I found was the malnutrition in Venezuela compared to the government loyalists who get like special food rations, right? So I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so okay, so they get like these bags of food, right? And usually it's like this little piece of bundle of meat and like a bag of rice, right? For a family of six, and that's what you get for the month. Um, and so the people who are supporters, they get better bags, sort of thing.
Oh,
Um, Also, like we used to send my father-in-law money, right? Like dollars, so he could buy on the black market better food
wow.
that he would get from people probably who were loyal
So they
to
would like sell their loyalist food for more money.
right. And
Wow.
they just have access to better things.
Right.
It is very, very wild. Like you could tell they would have nicer cars, nicer everything. They would have
Yeah.
nicer houses. Um, and they in Venezuela, they cut the electricity on them all the time too. Because there were a lot of times that we couldn't get a hold of our father-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
my father-in-law, my
Mm-hmm.
husband's father, because they didn't have power, and so he'd call us and be like, oh yeah, we didn't have power. We had to wait for it to come back on to get internet so they could call us.
That's why, like, this is not dystopian.
Right.
What, like, how, how old were you when you realized that dystopian is not the future? Like
Right.
now, like this moment, it's like, because I'm privileged, right? And I have never lived it, right? Or even had someone close to me that has, like you have. And it's like, just like the word dystopian to me, it just sits different now. It's like, it's not dystopian, it's current, it's just because it's not
Yeah.
happening to us.
And it's very weird because you adjust to it. Like to them, it's just their way of life.
Mhm.
There's not there, it's very weird how they just learn to live that way. I can't imagine it, but I mean, we might be headed that way too. So,
Well, that's just the human experience, or like the human capabilities. And
right.
what you're seeing in Gaza, like I can't even imagine how I could go on, but humans have like this perseverance about them that I don't know, because I could never even imagine that. But I'm not sure if I could be one of those, because and not to be a Debbie Downer, but remember in Mouse, or
Yeah.
one of those Holocaust books, I think it was Mouse by Spiegelman. He told a story about how one of the mothers knew what was coming, and so she had kept poison in her pocket and she just gave it to everybody.
I remember that. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
like his sister-in-law or
Yeah.
something.
Hmm.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. Because at that point she had already heard all the stories, and it's like, ugh, terrible.
Right. And in your head, you're like, how could you do something like that?
Hmm.
But also, sometimes I can kind of understand that because I would rather my child not live through something like that and
Right.
suffer. Like if I had to choose between sending my child to a gas chamber or, a camp like that to
Hmm.
suffer and slowly die because we know death was going to be the outcome,
Hmm.
or to have a quick, peaceful death.
Right.
As a mother, what would you choose? I
And
think I would choose a
that
peaceful,
should not
quick death.
even ever even be a conversation. Like the fact that we live in, like, we have so much technology Like I literally just watched a video today of robots moving like build a building in China.
Right.
They were moving a building with robots. Like, how can we have so much technology and still choose to ignore the people, that need it the most, or that are like living under these oppressive government regimes and
Right.
fucking genocide? Like, call it what it is. Like, I can't wrap my head around it, but
How do we have so much money?
yeah.
There's so much money, but 1% has it.
Well, we're
And
making money. And I mean, let's address the elephant in the room, which I completely forgot about. But the three bombs that America dropped on Iran, a couple, what was this, yesterday or 2 days
2 days
ago?
ago?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's all to make money, because war is just a money making machine.
Yep.
And that's always been the bottom line. I think we've said that a few times. It's always about making money, but at the expense of what? They don't care. They don't care, which is why reading books like this, especially in classrooms and analyzing the text and comparing them to historical events and current government regimes, um, has to be challenged, because otherwise, they wouldn't get their money.
And we can even use that as an example with the book, right? Here they send two reps, right?
Mhm.
The Hunger Games. We send,
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
a small group, I guess, if you want to think of numbers, of our children to the Army, the Marines, the Navy, to then go fight these wars for the billionaires to make money.
Yep. And so
Because,
many military families I've read, because I've been reading a few articles from, a few different perspectives, but a lot of the military families are just devastated and concerned about, like, why are we doing this? Like, they didn't have any weapons of mass destruction. Like,
right,
sure, there's an argument to be made about the terrorism, but they were minding their own business, and I'm sure people will disagree with me on that, because of the mis and the disinformation out there, because there's so much of it. But the fact is, there were no WMDs.
right.
And
And
you even have JD Vance saying that there were no WMDs, and then contradicting what Trump was saying, because they're just fucking lying.
right, that, and they constantly lie.
Mhm.
And I know that there's already a lot of propaganda being like pushed, and I could already see a lot of his supporters falling for it, where they're like, yeah, we needed the same people that were anti-war and swore that Harris would get us
Right?
into wars
Middle Eastern conflicts. Yeah. Here
are
we
now like
are.
backing him 100% because they eat all up. They eat it all up. Whatever he says,
Mhm.
whatever he
Yeah, it's
says
like
today,
the
they back.
people and the
You
people
think this
that
is mine tomorrow? They back that.
and the people that aren't even going to benefit, like, financially, like the regular everyday Joes, right? Of course, they're in a cult. They're brainwashed. A lot of them are, maybe this will be a tipping point for them, and they'll just be like, no, I don't support this. But
Right.
a lot of them will still just be like, oh, whatever he says must go, because I'm blindly following my cult leader, and they're not even going to get a single, like, cent. Whereas all these, like, evil corporations and millionaires are going to get richer and richer and richer,
Right.
with their defense contracts and their weapons manufacturing, and it's just disgusting. But back to the book, because we're not going to make this a long one. Another historical event I just wanted to ask you if you'd ever heard of is the Iron Rice Bowl in China. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
I hadn't either. And it's like, why hadn't we heard of this? Maybe I wasn't paying attention that day, but it was something in the in China, right? It was dismantled, in the 1980s and 90s, but
That's
it's
probably why we haven't heard about it because
right.
it's
No,
like
but it's
old.
right, but some remnants still persist, and it was a very important historical thing where Chinese citizens were kind of like forced to sorry, I just got a message from someone named Jenny. I was like, why are you texting me? Um, forced to have these government jobs by like state-owned enterprises. So it's like, oh, we're tricking you into thinking that you're going to have a job for the rest of your life and you'll never get fired, right? But it's just complete and utter control of people. It's like you have to move where we say you have to move, when we say you have to move, and you can never get a different job. Like that's like slave labor.
Right.
Yeah. So it has been dismantled, but it still persists. Like there's something called social credit systems, which echo the surveillance and conformity of the old system. And there's still not open access to urban jobs or like school choice or healthcare. So you're just kind of stuck, and it's like kind of goes back to what we talked about with Caste by Isabel Wilkerson and like what you're born into, like if you're born into as a Dalit or an untouchable in India, that's it.
Right.
It's really hard to get out of that. Just like in America, if you're
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like here, it's hard to climb up. Think of even like how your credit score, you know,
Mhm,
how
mhm,
I feel like that helps keep people down
mhm,
because things like my insurance is affected by my credit score.
mhm.
Why? My
Yeah.
driving ability is great. I haven't been in an accident.
Right.
I
Yeah.
haven't done any of that. What do you mean my insurance rate is going up
Mhm.
because my credit score is down?
Yeah. I
That
don't.
doesn't make sense. Like, so now I have to pay more, right?
Mhm.
Or my rent. I've paid rent on time, for the last 20 years. But if I go to move, and I'm not saying me because I own my house. Well, I
Mhm.
don't,
In
but
general. Yeah, yeah. Mortgage on whatever.
right, right.
Yeah.
But if I was to move somewhere, let's say to rent, and I can show that I've made mortgage payments and rent payments on time, why am I going to get charged more because of my credit score? Like,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It does make sense because it's all like we said, a way to just make more money for the corporations to make money and profit off of people like us that can't say
yeah,
no.
they make more money, but they also keep us down doing
Mhm,
that because it's harder to dig out of a hole if your expenses are higher,
mhm. That's
you
right.
know?
Mhm.
So,
It's a vicious, disgusting, ugly cycle, which could lead to rebellion,
mhm.
which is what we have seen in this book.
And
Um,
what we're seeing now, like, look at the No Kings parade. That was a huge, huge parade. And I
mhm.
know that it's mixed numbers. I am leaning towards the 11 million, 12 million number. I know other people are saying 5 million. To me, those groups were huge.
Well, I mean, let's just compare it to Trump's military parade because that ties in what I wanted to talk about with the Hunger Games because it relates to President Snow, who's only mentioned once in the first book, but I know that he gets to be a bigger character in the second and the third books. But President Snow is President Trump in this book, because President Snow stages like grand events enforcing loyalty, such as the Hunger Games, right? And if you watch the movie, you can see like in the Capitol like they all have like different hair colors and so much makeup and like jewels and necklaces and jewelry and like fancy outfits and stuff, and it's like
That's the only thing that
garish.
is not accurate to like what is today, because they are very
Right.
flamboyant, and
No, no,
that
no.
will
Yeah,
not fly
yes,
today.
yes, yes. It's not LGBTQ
No.
in the sense that it kind of is displayed in the movie, but in my opinion, it's sort of like a what's the word I'm thinking of? The older I get, the more I just can't think of words, but metaphor for um like I don't know, what are those stupid bags that you can only get if you're on a waiting list? They're
Oh my
like
God.
$50,000.
I don't know bags. Louis Vuitton, Prada,
More than that. It's like a beaker bag or Birkin.
Birkin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a metaphor to me for like a Birkin bag. It's like only the top 1% will have a
Yeah.
Birkin bag. Okay. And so it's sort of reminds me of like the capital's garishness is like, the Birkin bag.
And that's the idea of it. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, let's see. I have the
They
article.
all put it on, it's like every piece of jewelry they own, they're gonna wear
Right.
that.
Yeah. So there's a really cool infographic that I'll link in the show notes, but it says how many people attended the parade. Damn it, of course I can't find it. But yeah, oh yeah. So it's a really cool little graph, and it's got like the big orange baby Trump balloon. Did you
Yes,
see that?
I haven't seen it. I've seen the balloon, but I haven't seen that infographic.
Yeah. It's it's the No Kings protest dwarfs the Trump parade. So approximately between, I know Jennifer does not agree with this number, 4 and 6 million people compared to 250,000 that attended Trump's parade.
Yeah. I
Which
mean, even those numbers, I mean, show
I don't, yeah.
how much like how we overshadowed his stupid parade.
Hmm.
But I think the numbers are higher.
Yeah.
Just here in Florida, okay, we saw towns that like are predominantly red have
Hmm.
great turnouts.
Hmm.
So my question is, in the 5 million, are they only counting like the big cities that protested
I don't
and
know.
maybe not the smaller ones?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, there was more people.
I know you'd think that they'd be able to at least estimate, but either way, like obviously I wish it was 3.5%, but I'm happy with 6 million. I think that's a start.
Right.
But
And we have people lying. I want to point this out because it pisses me off. Our
mm,
sheriff in our town
oh yeah.
claimed that only 200 protests, our little town,
Mm,
had four protests.
mm,
Okay. Two of them happened simultaneously. Damn, that
mm,
word is hard for me to say. So we only have like two main streets, and it was pretty
yeah.
much a group on each main
Yeah.
street.
Yeah.
Um, each each group had about 500 to 600 people. And I
Oh,
know I was there at one of them. Okay. And I've
true.
seen videos of the other one and know
Yeah.
people who were at the other one.
It
Um,
must be hard to estimate that kind of stuff because not
yeah,
everyone who goes to that is going to sign up on the website because they always tell you
I
to sign
didn't
up.
sign up. I just
So
showed up.
yeah, and I'm not saying that you're not wrong for sure. I mean, it's just so hard to tell. I wish.
Yeah.
Well, you know what that reminds me of?
Wait,
So,
hold on, hold on.
oh,
Wait,
go ahead.
let me explain the part that
Yeah.
it pisses me off. Our fucking sheriff went on Fox News, like the local one, and claimed that the most we had all together
Mhm.
in total were like 200 protesters.
Yeah, I guess I agree. Like it's hard.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Hard to tell. So I totally agree. I'm
Which
on your side. Let's say
it's
11 million.
it's
Let's
a
do it.
flat out lie. Like there were not 200 people, you know?
Hmm.
Fuck you.
In
This is
conclusion, fuck you.
major fuck you. Yeah. But
Um,
yeah. So I mean, 5 million still is a good number.
yeah, but I
Um,
hear you. I hear you. But let me kind of relate back what you're saying to something a little bit even scarier
mhm.
are the fucking voting machines. Because I just read an article, because you know how like we talked about this on our last episode or one of our last episodes about how like the New York election
Yeah.
and having to recount, right? But personally, I don't think that that means anything because of the deeper digging that some people did, and they're like, well, that's because of the Jewish population, and like it matches the numbers from the Biden when Biden won. But uh there's so much out there about how like Musk and the computers, like there's like satellites in space which connect to the voting computers, and it's just a direct connection, right? And they can be remotely controlled, right? I know it sounds like, oh, this is a sci-fi conspiracy, but not really, not with like the technology that we know Musk has access to. And pair that with some of the quotes that he's been saying, before the election. And it's like, I didn't used to be a conspiracy theorist, but now I completely am like not at all trusting of the numbers and like the computers. And it's like I almost think that we need to go back to hand counting. Like just pretend like it's like 1995. Can we just do it that way? Like I just don't trust the computers, especially with like.
And anytime Trump accuses someone else of doing something, it's always a confession.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was constantly saying that,
But we
we
need hard
did,
evidence.
yeah. Well, Philadelphia, I think it was Philadelphia, um, is trying to recount as well.
Really?
Go back, and signing petitions and stuff. So
Sorry, I didn't know if what I just showed you there. I was trying.
it's hot. I was like, girl,
You see my fupa. No.
we might need to start a webcam service instead.
I was like, there's a window right here, so I had to look out and see who was out there because I don't really want to be overheard where I am right now because
Yes. You're in enemy territory.
this is a secret podcast. No one knows about this. I'm just trying to keep it, out of respect for my in-laws.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need them listening to me drop the F-bomb every 10
Right.
seconds.
Turn the volume down low too.
Okay. Yeah, who is Courtney talking to? She's so colorful. She has such colorful language. Yeah.
I was told I was a very nasty woman at the
It's a
protest.
compliment.
And I was like, thank you, I am.
Yeah. I want to be one. All right, so back to this. There's a couple other things I want to relate the book to. The top two being taxes and Medicaid. Okay, so we all know about the big beautiful bill. It is almost to President Trump's desk. They're saying probably July 4th it will get there and he'll sign it. Like, no, don't get your hopes up, okay? But in that bill are tax breaks for the wealthy, which he started in 2017 and now he's doing it again, but a little worse, right? So the lowest earning 10% of US households are likely to see a reduction of at least $1,600 per year or 4% of their annual income, which if you are in the lowest earning 10%, 4% of your income is a lot, right? And that, directly relates to the Hunger Games, where the Capitol have all of the rich people, like the top 1%, just like, hoarding all of the food and the resources, and the rest of the people and the surrounding districts are just dying of hunger. Like in the book,
They're like throwing away excessive foods.
Yes.
They have so much, they're just letting it spoil.
Which, we've talked about that before, about food waste and how it's like it hurts to waste food, because it's like you think about all the people out there that need it, and it's like, how can we be such a rich country, I'm just talking about America at this point, and still have kids dying of hunger? Right. And that's why this isn't dystopian, this is real life. Kids are still dying of hunger in this country, and it is just completely inexcusable. So and this bill isn't going to make it any better, because it gives the top 0.1% an after-tax boost of $389,000. The top 0.1%. Okay. So that's a forecast. That's not like language in the bill, but it's like someone who knows what they're talking about and this will be all linked in the show notes, right? I'm not just pulling these numbers out of my, but they forecast that the bottom 20% will lose $1,000, which that could feed you for a long time.
Yeah, $1,000 is a lot of money for us.
And a top 1% will get, but that's the thing that really bugs me, is like, how do you need an extra, you're in the top 0.1%. How do you need an extra 389,000?
Courtney, how are they going to get that extra, whatever building they wanted to buy?
I know.
Yacht. That's what the word I was going for. How are they going to buy that yacht they wanted?
Can you buy a yacht for 389,000?
Probably not. It's probably a lot more, but
how
still.
Are they going to put a down payment on their yacht?
Their fucking 10th yacht costs more than my house.
How are they going to pay for the gas in their yacht or the diesel, whatever?
Did you even think about that, Courtney?
No, I didn't, because I'm
poor people, man.
I know. I'm just not insecure. Damn it, what was it?
Incensed? Is that the word? No.
I swear, I'm like an old lady who can't remember her words.
It's not that you're old because I have this issue. I blame it on perimenopause. 21st.
No, I refuse to
It
say.
makes you have like brain fog and you think one word but you say another word.
Insensitive.
Insensitive. Would have never come up with that one.
I know. You're not the first person that told me I'm in perimenopause.
Well, no, that's my excuse for
No, it's
me.
probably true for me too. But anyway, the tax situation has always been just terrible. And now it's just egregious. Ooh, that's a fancy word that I can use. It's egregious. This big, beautiful bill, disgusting. It should be called the big, disgusting, egregious bill.
Yes.
And
Petition, let's petition to change the name.
right, on top of that is Medicare and Medicaid. But I only had time to research the Medicare part. But it relates to the Hunger Games and that, Katniss is talking about how her mother is a healer. And because even though in the Capitol, in the book, they have magic medicine, right? It's just like if like in when Katniss gets a burn on her leg during the Hunger Games, um, Haymitch gets a sponsor for her and like has like this special burn cream that like floats down in a little silver parachute because otherwise she would have died. Like it was a huge burn and it would have been infected. Speaking of which, I just picked a scab at my leg and now I'm bleeding. I
I
need
need
the special medicine. But anyway, it like heals her instantly, right? And she recounts a story in District 11 where like a coal miner was experienced a really bad explosion, and that's how her dad dies actually, is an explosion in the coal mine, and her mom tries to save him with like her herbal remedies that she collected from the forest, and it doesn't work. So
Right.
so it's just an obvious difference in medical care between the capital and the districts in the Hunger Games. And again, not dystopian because this bill is taking away um Medicare coverage from people even if they have lawful immigration status. Okay? So we're talking about people who are here legally and who have worked and paid taxes for decades. They don't get Medicare anymore. Okay, that's not dystopian. This is right out of the Hunger Games book. Um, and this is a significant change from the current policy, which recognizes eligibility for everyone who has paid sufficient Social Security and Medicare taxes on wages to be considered fully insured. So when you get your paycheck and you're like, why did all these dollars get taken out of my paycheck? It'll say Medicare taxes, right? That's to insure you in case you need Medicare. That is no longer an option for, I think, non-citizens. I don't know what term to use there, but I can't even believe it. It's
Like residents? Ooh.
I don't know. Yeah.
Because you have to become a resident first before you become a US citizen.
Yeah, I guess resident. Okay. So yeah, because I hate using that. Man, I am really bleeding down here. The weird scab. Um, sorry. Yeah, because I hate using the word non-citizen, but yeah, legal resident, I should say.
Right.
That's a better way. Learn be, you know,
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
learn better, do better, learn. What is
Don't ask me. I have no idea.
I learned better.
Know better?
I'm gonna
Know
do
better?
better. Know better, do better.
Okay.
We need to start taking our vitamins.
I don't think it'll help at this point.
So, and so that's for the legal residents, right? And then now just talking about citizens, okay? people are going to lose financial assistance, regardless of your citizen status, right? That
Right.
are, and they're already on these limited incomes, right? So they're going to lose financial assistance, and
Yeah.
their dollars are going to be stretched even further, forcing them to choose between healthcare or food and rent.
Mm-hmm. And this is something they already face because what they get is not a lot.
Exactly. It's just going to be even worse.
It's just going to make it worse. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just the tip of the iceberg because I like I said, I couldn't research. There's just so much. I had to focus on just a few things, you know.
Yeah.
Um, just think of the people with disabilities, you know, and the ramifications that the you know of these cuts is just
And
disgusting.
all of this leads back to Project 2025. This was all mentioned in that bill or in their little
Mm-hmm.
whatever they call that. And in that little book that they have, one
Mm-hmm.
of the things that they talked about as well, which we're going to see now and is relevant to what is happening now in the Middle East, is they are going to make it like required before it was like optional for students at public schools, only public schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, to take the ASVAB test,
Oh, the ASVAB. Yeah, I know about the ASVAB. Yeah.
the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude. Um, oh my God, battery. I can't read. I can read, I can't see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's questionable too if I can
Well,
read.
well.
But yeah, so again, streamlining it, making it easier for them to go after kids in public school and funnel them into the military
Mm-hmm.
for their wars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That
So,
was another thing in the book where it was like if you want to get out of District 11 or your district, like you had to join the peacekeepers or something, or you had to join something.
and then we don't treat our vets well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, like, that's another thing that always confuses me. Veterans, a lot of veterans, not all of
Mhm.
them, voted for this man.
I think a lot of veterans now though are turning against the entire administration because the way a group that has been just completely you know ripped apart by this administration have been veterans. Like
Right.
completely disrespected, completely it's just
Which unfortunately is part of the fuck around and find out phase. Like,
yeah.
we tried to tell everyone this is what he was doing and this is what he was planning, and people
Yeah.
somehow believed that they were just going to do these awful things to other people and
Hmm.
not to them.
Hmm.
Now that they're finding out that they are the other people and not them,
Hmm. Hmm.
they're starting to realize it. So, like, I'm grateful that they are, but at the same time, I'm still mad because you voted for this, knowing he was a horrible man. You
Hmm.
just thought you wouldn't get
Well,
wrapped up in that.
it so not to defend people who voted for Trump, but uh the Project 2025, he's done everything that he said that he was going to do. So you can say he has done everything that he said he's going to do, but then he's also done everything he said he wasn't going to do, such as invade the Middle East or
Right,
go back and pull us back into a Middle Eastern conflict, right? Which
right.
is what he just did 2 days ago.
Which
Um,
he claimed that the worst president would do. And I
mhm,
finally agree with him
mhm.
because
Yeah.
he is the worst fucking president.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many tweets from like dating back to 2012 of him saying like the worst president would re-escalate conflict in the Middle
The
East.
most incompetent president. And I'm like, yep,
Yeah, we need to make a video. That's what
finally
I was telling
right.
you. You should make that video and just, like whatever.
Yeah.
I think it'd be better if coming from you. I think because you've made those videos before and they look good. I would just feel weird. I'd be like, all right, so the other thing, there's so many different parallels, but I don't want to go through each one of them because we've already kind of gone over on time. But like one other thing I do want to mention is the blue states and like the punishing, right? So like Trump is like punishing blue states, right? President Snow is punishing districts. And like threat, trying to like show them the power that he wields over them. An example of that is the deployment of federal troops or the National Guard to California during the No Kings protests. And also, recently, did you see that Trump suggests he may withhold California disaster aid, over his feud with the governor. Did you see
I
that?
had not seen that, no.
Yeah. And
I mean,
probably
he's so pissed at Newsom that I
yeah.
wouldn't be surprised.
And even to like red states, like remember there were all those tornadoes and his like former press secretary, I forgot what
Yes.
yeah,
I
what was
can't name her name either, but her
yeah, now
asked for help, and he was like, "Nope."
yeah, and it's not even a blue state. So think about what he would do to the blue states and what he's already done. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's just so many stark parallels that you can make with this book, and it's what?
Sarah Huckabee Sanders, that's her
Oh,
name.
you were looking it up. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
Sarah
I was
Huckabee
like, "What is
Sanders,
her name?"
current governor of what state? I don't know, the tornado one.
Currently,
Where did
come on,
tornadoes?
girl.
Kansas?
Sarah.
Oh,
Ugh,
it's okay that we don't know this. There's just too much information out there.
Arkansas.
Arkansas, okay. So yeah, that I mean, I thought that was devastating because that hit Arkansas really hard. And so my heart goes out to the people in Arkansas. But like you said, fuck around and find out. It just sucks that we have to wait
Hmm.
3.5
Florida
years.
is gonna find out soon enough too, because hurricane season is here,
Mhm. Yep.
and
We don't have FEMA.
we don't have FEMA. Nope. We've also stopped funding to the National Weather Service.
Mhm.
So, you know, we might find out later than is good to know
Yeah.
that a hurricane is on its way to us.
Hmm. I know. Well, I at least hurricanes can be like forecasted,
Right.
better than or like, before tornadoes can. But I do keep checking like the NOAA website and it says no activity detected. And I'm like, but is there like
Yeah.
and like again, I didn't used to be a conspiracy theorist. Like I'm not a conspiracy theorist. My guard is up because I don't trust what's happening anymore. Like I don't trust mainstream media. And I used to be the person that was like, oh, you sound like an idiot if you say you don't trust mainstream media. But like, I just don't trust anything. And I think
No.
it's becoming more of the norm unless you're in the cult. And then you trust anything Fox News says. But
Right.
yeah.
And we don't
Or,
trust them because they are bending
mhm,
constantly now to
mhm,
what Trump says and does. He threatens them and they back off. And
mhm.
so, like, now we're not going to trust you because are you doing this to appease Trump? Or are you really,
Because you're afraid. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I know it's crazy the thought is crazy that like I could go to the NOAA website, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Association, I don't know, and see that it says no tropical activity detected, but then be like, well, hold on, the ocean is like 95 degrees, which is just an unprecedented like temperature. And how can there not be any tropical detection? Like
Right.
it's just
And maybe they're just
scary.
sending less feelers out there, whatever they send, the planes and stuff, to go check because there's no funding. I don't know.
Yeah. And they're not going to report on it. It's
Right.
just like the plane, like the aviation and like the plane crashes and the issues with the air traffic controllers. It's like
Yeah.
that was a little harder to sweep under the rug, but we're not talking about it anymore. There's so many things that we're not talking about because we keep
So
getting
much shit
distracted.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Every day something happens. Even people are saying that him dropping the bombs on Iran
Hmm.
was probably a distraction from the protests that are happening.
Hmm.
And I can see that he's so like um narcissistic that to take attention away from something that was embarrassing to him, like his little pity party parade,
Hmm.
um, that he would throw a tantrum and start a war.
Hmm.
You know? I don't know. There
No,
might be
yeah.
more to it, obviously, but
I think
um
that's definitely one of a
that helped tip the
few.
scale, right?
Yeah.
Like into him doing it.
Hmm.
Also, why are we listening to Israel? Why are we getting involved in like the issues Israel's having?
Well, even fucking Democrats have always been on the side of Israel. So like that's just something that would never change, unfortunately. Like that they're our greatest ally. Oh, did you see I sent you that thing, the masked anonymous like hacker?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
I got out of work and I forgot to look at it.
yeah.
Sorry.
So well, the anonymous, like the guy in the
Yeah.
mask and he
But that
gargles
didn't
his
look like
voice.
the other anonymous. So I don't.
I don't know. I don't know. Again, I usually didn't buy into that kind of stuff, but it was interesting. He they, whatever, were like, it's going to awaken the sleeper cells that Iran has here. Like apparently Iran has sleeper agents in America, and because we bomb them, they're going to like retaliate. And it was kind of contradictory. So I don't know. That's why I'm not putting too much weight on it. But like,
So the sleeper cell part, that is true. Apparently, Iran had sent like a warning to Trump while he
mhm,
was in Canada, I think, for like a summit or something that happened like last week,
mhm,
letting him know that if he got himself involved in the conflict, that they would awaken their sleeper cells that they had here in the US.
mhm,
So apparently that is true. And then
mhm.
he went ahead and still did what he did,
He doesn't care about
putting us at
anything
risk.
but making money and distracting from his plummeting approval ratings. And then the other part was that it was a false flag, that there was that the government was going to like bomb some or like do a domestic terrorist attack and then blame it on the Middle East so that we would want to go to war.
Okay,
That's
kind of like the whole 9/11 thing that people say
the
didn't really happen, like the way
yeah. And
they
we're not saying that. Like
no.
we're not 9/11
I'm
conspiracy
just
theorists.
saying I've
Yeah.
heard that conspiracy.
Yeah.
I don't
No.
agree with that.
Well, it's here, let me look it up real quick. It's called a false flag, right? So false flags in American history because they've happened before. And so
Right.
this anonymous guy was like, you know, we have information that there's going to be a false flag operation that is going to basically result in us in the United States wanting to retaliate and go to war. So the first example I can find was in 1962 U.S. Department of Defense plan, they proposed a fake terrorist attack to justify military action against Cuba. I don't think it happened. So I guess JFK rejected it, which obviously, like, why would you allow an
Right.
attack on American soil? Like it's just evil.
Right. But that sounds like something Trump would be on board with.
Totally. Yeah.
Same thing. Like his ear is fine. I don't think that was a real attempt on his life.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
His ear is perfectly fine. I
It grew back
don't
because
feel
he
like
had the medicine. No, Jennifer, he had magic medicine from the Capitol
that's
that
what it was.
allowed
Yeah.
him. Listen, this is not
We
this is
just don't have
real.
access to that kind of stuff. That's what it is.
Yeah, because if I shot your ear off, you would just have to walk around earless because you're
Right.
District 11. I wonder what Florida would be. It'd be like District. What we would just give sunshine to the Capitol, just harness off
Right.
sunshine. Like here, have a sunshine.
I mean, we kiss enough ass
I
as
know.
like the governor,
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so we might be in their good graces,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
we don't really have anything to give, right? Like
Oranges.
oranges, orange juice, you need that breakfast.
Weirdos.
Vitamin C.
We have a lot of weirdos we can
A lot
donate.
of Oreos. Yeah.
Anyway, I think I'm done. I'm tapped out on explaining why The Hunger Games is not a dystopian fiction. It's a real life book that's happening
But we're living, y'all.
that we're living. Yeah. Um, Even with
Yeah.
the magic ear growing cream that we just don't know exists because we'll never have access to it.
But hey, in the end, Katniss kicks ass, right? How does it?
Yeah.
Because
Wait,
I
I
don't
don't.
remember.
Well, obviously Katniss doesn't die because there's
Right.
books 2 and 3, but I'm not gonna spoil the ending because I mean I guess people can put 2 and 2 together but this episode was more just about how it relates to real life. But yeah, there is kind of like a twist, I'm sure you remember at the end, that involves romance.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. But the
But I'm
whole
not gonna spell it out for people. You guys should read the book for sure.
yeah,
Or at least watch the movie, but the book is better. So
but the whole point is like rebelling. That's what we need to do. We need to fight back.
and
Not
and
just
President Snow identifies her as like giving the districts too much hope.
right.
Uh
And it's a dangerous thing when we start to feel that way.
yep.
So, and we can see that with the protests
Hmm.
happening because for me, they have given me a lot of hope.
Yes.
And yeah,
And
I'm
that
like, it has re-energized me where I'm no longer like, well, it's just gonna fucking happen. And now I'm like, you know
Right.
what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to come take it.
And that's why Trump sent the National Guard to squash the hope, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not working.
Yeah, the blue cities and the blue states are the districts, in this analogy.
So presidents know you can take your squeaky little tank and shove it up your ass. We're not backing down.
Nope. On that note, don't ban books.
Ban bigots. This episode has been engineered and mixed by your hosts, Jennifer and Courtney.
You can listen to the Milf for Books podcast on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, or literally any podcast app you want.
Check out our Milf for Books YouTube page. That's MILF, the number 4, books. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Follow the show on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and Blue Sky at MILF for Books. Again, that's MILF, the number 4, books. But follow us on TikTok at Moms into Literary Freedom.